find anything I disliked about her or her positions. So, I'm not helping you out, I'm sorry.
Regarding health care, you were mentioning how you want to take a stance in trying to repeal it. What are our chances nullifying it through the judicial system by taking it before? Which do you feel has a better chance, either repealing it through Congress or nullifying that bill through the judicial system?
Yeah, well, that's okay. What he said is, what's better chance about health care is to nullify it through the court process or to repeal it legislatively. I'll take whatever I can get. To be honest, I think the courts have a great option because this is not only a 10th Amendment right, but a Commerce Clause right. And under the concepts of the Commerce Clause, they've also had to have two standards before you can invoke it. And one is it impact the economy, and this clearly does. But the other is you have to have willing participants. You've never actually had an act go into effect that forced somebody to go to jail for not doing anything. So I think there's a good legal argument, and I hope the Supreme Court takes it up and does it. However, what really happens is the funding mechanism. If we try to repeal it, Obama would obviously veto it. We can't take that approach until he's out of office. But if at least one house of Congress shifts over, we don't have to fund this thing. And you can maintain it in that limbo position until you can change Congress enough on both houses and the presidency that we can actually repeal it. And I don't think just a repeal is going to work this time. We have to replace it with something that actually has market forces that go in there. I mean, if your auto insurance can work with market forces, healthcare can as well. But I don't know. Whatever works, I'm ready to do it. Okay, over here. Ma'am.
Congressman Bishop, I'm new at this. I hope you'll apologize for if I don't sound like I know what I'm doing, because I don't. But I want to say to whoever said we have lost the war, we have lost the vote, we have not lost the battle. We have lost the battle, I'm sorry, but we have not lost the war. We are going to get it.
Last question. I'd like to know what you think about cap and trade and the illegal alien problem that we have. All of us came through the legal channels, most of us, but there's a huge amount that aren't now, and they're causing a drainage on our money source, our savings account, everything, you know. And cap and trade is the biggest chain that we're going to have put on our ankle. And everybody in this room ought to go home and get a chain out and put a big ball on it and walk around for a couple of weeks, because that's what we're going to have if we get cap and trade. I mean, it's going to be devastating.
You're exactly right. Cap and trade is crap. It's not cap and trade, it's cap and tax. Cap and trade is a fundraising effort. It has nothing to do with trying to clean up the atmosphere. It's how to raise money. And how to raise money by also moving up the cost of energy to a point that you will almost embrace any other alternative because the cost is so high. Cap and tax, cap and trade, whatever you want to call it, also hits disproportionately. It would hit Utah disproportionately than San Francisco. It hits poor people disproportionately than rich people. Cap and tax is nothing more than an old indulgence from the medieval time period, where if you wanted to go sin, you would go to the religious leader and he would give you an indulgence and you could enjoy it, and you would have somebody pay it off. This is the same thing. People who actually run those cap and tax, cap and trade businesses would be able to pay people to pollute, if that's what you would call it, and then continue doing it. That's like an elite group that's there. There is nothing about cap and tax that I think is anything other than pure unadulterated crap, in no other return. Subcommittee. It kind of jumped me over some senior people to give that to me, and I'm impressed. I'm happy. But what I have found out is, especially because I went down to the southern border a couple of months ago, is from California to Texas, over 40% of the land that abuts that border is owned by the federal government. Department of Interior land with some Forest Service land and some Indian reservations. Border security has done a good job in the urban areas. to stop immigration coming up here. What they're now doing is going through the rural areas all owned by the federal government. Almost all of the illegal drugs coming into this country come now through federal government land. Human trafficking and all the violence, especially against women, is coming through federal government lands. Potential terrorists are coming through federal government lands. We found backpacks with Chinese, Hong Kong passports that have been cut up within those backpacks. Unfortunately, the Department of Interior is doing two things that I find abhorrent. Number one is they charge Homeland Security mitigation fees to do any kind of patrolling or control of the border. And number two, they interpret land policies, especially the Wilderness Act, in a way that prohibits border security from doing their jobs on those lands. So the virtual fence that Janet Napolitano just said she's going to stop and start over again was designed to fail because the Department of Interior would not allow Homeland Security to put the sensors where they needed to be put to actually control that access. So there were entire blind spots that people were coming through, all in the name of protecting wilderness status of the land. And the irony is that all those drug cartels coming across this country, as much as 100 miles inside the United States, were destroying the very wilderness they wanted to protect because they would not let Border Patrol do their jobs. If there is one thing I insist on doing, and when I get back there in a couple of weeks, we're going to present some pieces of legislation to try and push this issue. I want to stop all the illegal drugs coming to this country, the human trafficking and the potential of terror, by making sure that we control that border by saying the most important effort is to stop all the illegal activity coming across our border, and that takes precedence over any other land policy you have to do that. This is and it's the first step to doing what you were talking about.
What they need to do is take the benefits away, and they will go away.
Which is true, except that doesn't stop the drug cartels from coming over here. I want those drugs stopped. I want the trafficking stopped. I want those terrorist loopholes stopped. And if we simply say our strategy is that Border Patrol has precedence over wilderness characteristics, we can do that. I have a national monument on the Arizona border that it is impossible for Americans to go into that without an armed guard because it's controlled by drug cartels. No inch of American land should ever be controlled by a foreign cartel, and the only reason they're there is because our silly policies don't allow us to get them out. That's got to stop. That's got to stop. And thank you so much. So one last thing. I really was serious when I say I am very proud of your group. I hope you keep up the anger, the anxiety, the efforts, the discussion.
Would you be interested if we set up in the next week a Meet the Candidate night here so you can meet the candidates that you'll be voting on at the county convention? Okay, please check the website. I'm going to try and arrange something either Wednesday or Thursday night. I know it's short turnaround, but we've got a lot to do. Next Saturday the 10th, we do have Mike Lee coming. He's a candidate for U.S. Senate. We have Tim Bridgewater coming on the 15th of April. It's on the website. Please, please, please check the website. Thank you.